Good evening to all. I will wait for some people to join in so we can talk for a little bit. Thank you for joining in. Let's see if we can get some people in the live feed. Let's see if we can get some people in the live feed. First of all, like the video, share the video, hit that bell button on YouTube, hit that like button on Facebook. So, thank you so much for joining in. I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Voice News. How's everybody doing? Good evening. I am in Panama. I'm in Panama. We are in the house of the great war correspondent journalist, Mr. Chuck Holton. He was so nice of him to invite us into his house. He has been a war correspondent for quite some time. He has traveled all across the world. Great person, great individual. I cannot say, much greater things that he is a true patriot that defends the United States of America, even as a retired former Ranger of the United States of America. Also, we are in the presence of Mr. Michael Young. He is downstairs. They're all in the living room. Mr. Michael Young is also another war correspondent who everybody knows. His repertoire and his story. Great patriot. He's a motivation and inspiration to us all that we want to basically give you raw and uncut footage and real news. Also, my colleague and brother Ben Berquam, he is also downstairs resting, as it was a long journey. You must excuse the wind. Hopefully the audio is good for me to talk about my experience of the Darien Gap. We started this journey 17 days ago. Ben Bergman and myself, on my birthday, I landed on Bogota, Colombia on January 11th and left my home on January 10th. January 11th, arrived into Bogota. Also, Ben Bergman landed in January 11th to Bogota. We started doing some coverage of how the mass migration has affected Bogota and also the borders between Bogota, Colombia, and Venezuela. We traveled to the borders of Cucuta in another plane from Bogota to Cucuta, that is the border with Venezuela. And as you guys have seen, we exposed the open border and the crisis of food that Venezuela is going through due to a communist and socialist regime by Nicolás Maduro. Also, the operandi on that border of the Tren de Aragua, a really violent and delinquent and dangerous gang that operates right now in the borders between Venezuela and Colombia. The U.S. government has flagged this gang into their borders due to their enormous expansion in Central America and now in North America, and a lot of them are inside of the United States of America. After documenting for a few days right there, we encountered ourselves with a lot of irregularities and a lot of violent crimes that occurred. We were doing a broadcast in Cucuta, and a sicario murder happened there. After there, we planned ourselves to go to Necoclí, that is the last municipal city by sea, to the other entrances of the Darien. A lot of people, they ask themselves how many entrances the Darien Gap, Darien Jungle has. Darien Jungle has multiple entrances. It is not only one highway. It is multiple entrances and multiple routes that they are made by coyotes, traffickers, or travel advisors or guides. We visited Necoclí and we find ourselves with a market, humanitarian market. The left in the United States of America, and also, broadcasters and reporters and journalists in the United States. Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Chuck. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much. You would like to say hello to the audience real quick? This is Mr. Chuck Holton right here. Thank you so much, Mr. Chuck, for
folks, how you doing?
For having me in your home, and I would like to say that I have a complete admiration for your work.
Thank you very much. It's good to have you here. Glad we finally got to meet. Glad you didn't get eaten out there by Ben.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chuck. That is Chuck Holton right there. He brought me this cover for the noise. Thank you so much. Let me just go back to where I was. After traveling to Necoclí, we saw a huge humanitarian market in Necoclí. Big humanitarian market. It's enormous. It's just unbelievable what the Biden administration has done to the whole continent and what it's doing to the world. The most shocking thing is what they are doing to the world. What the Democrats and the leftists and the globalists and the inhuman leftist journalists, leftist media, fake news media, what they're doing to the world. It's so sad to see it. We arrived to Necoclí and we saw multiple shopping carts that they're selling tarps, camping houses, cooking stoves for your travesty to the jungle. Like it was a picnic. Like if it was something that it was just made to be. One day you wake up and you see and you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to the jungle and I'm possibly going to make it. Multiple stores, travel agencies promoting and making hundreds of thousands of dollars every day, every little boat that travels to the islands of Capurganá, the islands of Acandí, to move multiple hundreds of migrants every day. My colleague, Ben Bergman, my brother, and I started walking around documenting this kind of situation, and we were amazed of what the Biden administration has done to the whole continent. We were just in shock. These are the jobs that Joe Biden has created. These are the jobs that the Democrats have said, we are spreading jobs and we are creating jobs. Yes, you are. Out of human misery, you're creating jobs. Of course you are creating jobs out of the vulnerabilities of people and the necessities of people. Of course you are creating jobs. The sad thing about this is that before we took a boat on our first travesty trying to enter the Darien Gap from, I can say, the west, from the mountain. The sad thing about it is that we discovered a banner and a United Nations stand, a convenience stand. It was standing right there and they were trying to help people. And in the banner, it says that before your travesties or before you enter the Darien Gap, before you pick up a boat, we can provide you pregnancy pills, birth control pills, condoms. We were so disgusted. We were like, how is this possible? That that people are getting raped, that people are getting abused, that people are dying inside of this horrible journey, and you still promote, you still, give them the ability to be prepared for anything that it can happen inside the jungle. We took pictures, we documented that, and we went on our journey on a boat. We landed in Capurganá. That is one of the entrances to thank you so much for people that are contributing to Buy Me a Coffee. Buy Me a Coffee is pinned on the chat. Thank you for your contributions as we're continuing to spread the word around the world of these humanitarian crises that these globalists are creating. Thank you so much for your support. It's much needed. We arrived to the island of Capurganá, and we entered the jungle from that side. We went halfway into the jungle. It was something like a taste, because we already had planned that we were going to go in through the jungle, but through Panama. And we said, let's give it a try. Let's give it a taste. Let's see how it is. And it was really tough. It was raining. You guys saw some footage that I put up in the video. Seeing families carrying children, seeing men carrying their childs in a vest, a 1-year-old or less, a toddler, months. It is unbelievable. It is just incredible to see that. And me, as a man, that I have been preparing myself for this journey physically, I thought that it was going to be easy. I knew that it was going to be horrible for my multiple coverages that I have done. More than 10 caravans I have broadcast and walked. I have traveled to Guatemala, Honduras, and also Mexico, and also the borders with the United States. And I've heard hundreds of stories of migrants just saying, you know what, it is horrible. So I said, it's going to be horrible. So that day we walked for 4 hours, going up a hill, climbing a mountain that it was muddy, disastrous. And there was a place where they had bamboo on a stick. That was the place that you can grab yourself from the side. If you picked one side that it was not the stick, you possibly will fall into a cliff and you will die. That's how easy life it is. That's how easy you can lose your life in the Darien Gap. Our first day going up and first day coming down was a complete beatdown. We understood that it was horrible. We understood that it was going to be bad, and we understood that the journey, we understood the suffering of people. But ultimately, we were understanding that it's a business, that everybody's making money out of it. And ultimately, we know that NGOs, they're pushing for this because they are sucking the teeth of human necessity. So we were more understanding that because we were living it. Although that I have lived it walking in caravans, now I've lived it inside the Darien. After that, we were returning back from Colombia, and we were returning back from the island of Capurganá, and we saw a boat that was capsized. On this travesty going back on our boat, this is the track that goes back and forth with migrants, taking them to the Darien. There was a capsized boat. Our people that they were in charge of our boat went over there, put a chain on the boat's front end, and pulled it out. When the boat came out of the water, 2 packages of some substance of narcotics came out afloat. It was a boat that it was trafficking narcotics into the same route that they are consistently pushing people in through the Darien Gap. So by now, you understand that this route is used not only for trafficking of humans, trafficking of people, trafficking of children. Ultimately, also, we have heard stories of trafficking of organs. But now we hear the story of trafficking of drugs. That this has nothing new, but as we're seeing it on our own eyes, that you see boats coming back and forth, that they're pushing for human misery to push them into the Darien Gap, and now you're seeing the drugs are also coming along. So that is how unbelievable this first part of the journey was. We came back. We went on a boat from Capurganá to another different part of the place. We landed. We met. We went around this disclosed boat location. And after that we went around it. We landed and we got the unbelievable, uh, you know, unbelievable news that we were going to meet one of the most greatest journalists that exists in the planet for me, that is Mr. Michael Young. I met him for the first time in this port. We shared a couple of stories, and we were planning how we were going to enter, the Darien Gap. To know Michael Young and to know these kind of individuals, Chuck Colton and Michael Young, have been to multiple wars. They're people that they are mentally prepared for every different circumstance, and they know the mission. The mission for them was for us to accomplish entering and getting out safely, but ultimately to document from a legal way, to document the truth, and to give a voice to the Panama people, to the Central American people, South American people, to all the people that they're against child trafficking, and they're tired and exhausted of it. And ultimately, I'm trying to do my best with the microphone. The wind is blowing a little bit hard, but I'm trying to do my best. So hopefully the microphone and the audio is good. So we waited for a couple of days right there in this port, this closed location. And after that, we got the opportunity to go to one of the tribes locations. That is the Guna tribe. As we arrived to this place, it was a whole contaminated area. Bad, horrible. This is when you ask yourself, where are all these environmentalists? These people that they are creating the idea that because of the environment, they're migrating because of an environmental disaster, because we're contaminated. We don't care about the smoke. We don't care about vehicles burning so much hydrocarbons and carbon monoxide. The beach, all of it was flooded with trash, horribly trash. It is a virgin island, and it was completely destroyed by mass migration. We documented that, and we talked to some of the tribes, and they're tired of it. They didn't ask for this mass migration to enter their tribes. They didn't ask for it. They said the migration came to us. At first, one of the leaders of the tribe and speakers said, in 2015, it started with Cubans. We started adapting to it, and we're guiding them to that. After that, it started with all across the world, but in 2022 was the most horrible year. We had hundreds of thousands every day. The whole camp was packed and full. Everybody was crossing the Darien, and the route was extremely dangerous. So we documented that, and they said, hey, you know what? We didn't want this. First of all, we didn't want it because of the enormous trash and contamination. Second of all, the complexity of the behavior of the migrants was not adaptable to our tribe. It was a lot of spread of diseases, and ultimately, it was the provocation of women with the tribe members, that it was taking away their mentality and their main focus on continuing protecting their tribe and not continuing with other things that they were distracting them from the main purpose of protection of their village. When they started getting distracted, a lot of diseases started entering into the tribe. A source says malaria, and also we're talking about cases of syphilis. This was a thing that really copy pasted when it happened in Tapachula when I was documenting over there that in the year 2021, Tapachula had the most biggest spread of gonorrhea, syphilis, and cases of AIDS in the whole country of Mexico. It is because of an uncontrollable mass migration. Not blaming it on the migrants. They are used as pawns. They are used for an objective. And their objective is to completely open up every border to have a continent without no borders. Ultimately, after that, we came back to our main space, and then Ben Berquam documented it on the part of Ermilla, another place where the migrants entered, that the beach was double the contamination that it was in the parts of uh, the Guna tribe. Anacuchuna is called. Double the contamination. This is when you realize, where are all the environmentalists? Where are all these people that they protect the environment? They're in Davos, Carl Schwab, Greta, all these people. And they are always preaching about the environment and the environment this and the environment that. They don't care about the little guy, like Steve Bannon says. They don't care about the little middle class guy that works his butt off to provide for family. The most important thing on this day, sorry about the wind, the most important thing on this day that we were there at the Anachikuna, the Guna tribe, was they were destroying their own source of commerce. What is their own source of commerce? The migrants, as they were coming in, they have a lot of palm trees. It is beautiful. The island is beautiful. It's a paradise. And the palm trees, they have coconuts. The coconuts for the Guna tribe, they are the number one source of resource for commerce and international commerce into Colombia. That is how they get rice. That is how they get money. flee the migrants because they don't have food, they don't have a resource of water. They were tearing down the coconuts that they're not ready to tear down, and they were causing damages to the plantation. It is sad to see that. It's completely sad to see it. Nobody's giving them a voice. Nobody's giving a voice to the tribes. Nobody's giving a voice to the Panamanian people. Nobody's giving a voice to nobody. But you got these leftist libtards that they say, oh, my friend went inside the jungle without being escorted, and he documented it, and he's so brave. The New York Times arrived, and they went in there, and oh my God. But nobody talks about the used condoms. Nobody talks about the environmental disaster that this is causing. Nobody talks about the abuse that women is causing. Nobody talks about the abuse to children that is causing. And nobody talks about the law of the Centerfront authorities as they have supported and give the great coverage on trying to stop narco-terrorism inside the jungle. One of the most incredible things that nobody has talked about. But you got all these libtards that they're concentrated on saying, oh, no, we have gone there. We have the gift from God. As the authorities of Centerfront, they are exhausted and tired of not saying the truth about what is happening inside the jungle. Centerfront, it is the authority of the border. It is like border patrol inside the jungle. It is the border patrol that protects the sovereignty of the country. We had the opportunity to meet the commander, and ultimately he said, I will provide you some soldiers for them to show you what the real news it is about inside the jungle. We prepare ourselves mentally, physically for that day. The next day we arrived and entered the jungle. And as we were entering the jungle, we was walking in. The only thing that I can tell you is that it's sad to see, because it is what all these leftist media have also pandered. It is, you guys already know that it's a complete lie, but it is a complete disaster. As we were walking inside the jungle, it is the most horrific, exhausting thing that I ever gone into my life. I think that I had never seen a route so dangerous. And on the first day, we were walking with Centerfront, and they were telling us this is where possibly there was abuse. This is where possibly kids got lost. This is where people lose their lives. The numbers of people dying, it is false. They exacerbate the number because they want to exacerbate the situation inside the Darien so all of them can get provided asylum. The authority, military authority of Centerfront, it was so important on this trip because we were going with a lawful authority inside the jungle to provide a voice, not like these leftists that they go in the jungle paying coyotes, and you're providing more business for the coyotes. We went in there with law, with the righteousness to do things right. And after we were walking multiple routes, exhaustion on the first day, it is one of the things that you don't start to understand because you're well prepared physically, but this is the jungle. It's a different ballgame. You start going up and up and up into these hills, disastrous hills. I cannot even imagine, bear to imagine a mother going in with a child. At this point, at the first day, I said, I cannot imagine a child going through this. It's just unbelievable. I cannot imagine this. Multiple sites as campsites, all full with trash, all full with clothing, damaging the environment of this beautiful jungle, one of the most raw and dangerous jungles in the world. It is damaged by an environmental disaster. We started walking more up and up, and we started seeing clothing of children, toddlers in these particular places. We're like, wow, cannot believe a toddler went through here. And then after that, we started seeing condoms. You know those condoms that I told you when I started this life that the United Nations was providing inequitably? Those condoms, we saw them on top of the mountain. Used also condoms. Who, in their right mind, after feeling this exhaustion, tired, dehydrated, will have the time to have intercourse in a jungle? Nobody. It is an obvious that there's multiple abuse. And the leftist media and in this people that they are continuously establishing their agenda, they don't talk about it because they're living out of this. They're sucking out of human misery and they promote it. Sad to see it. As we were walking up also, there was a person that was buried there, a migrant from Venezuela who had a stroke, a heat stroke, could not survive because of the physical condition. And he was buried there. We saw the mountain of the body. I did a prayer right there for him to rest in peace. At this particular point, we were really exhausted. We're tired. We went up the hill and we climbed La Loma de las Banderas. That is one of the most toughest hills on the toughest routes. At that point, this cannot be it. After crossing to multiple mudslides, the day before it was a huge thunderstorm, and it provoked multiple mudslides, huge mudslides. You guys don't even imagine what I'm talking about. You are high up. If you don't grab yourself to dear life, you will go down the hill and you will die. Every time we were praying, Ben Bergquam and I, we were praying, Lord, please wake up the people for them to not migrate through here anymore. Lord, our Lord Jesus Christ, please wake up to people to stop migrating through here. This is a matter of life and death. We were holding on to dear lives multiple times. Myself almost stumbled and fell to the cliff. Really bad. These mudslides were massive mudslides. You guys don't even imagine how massive they were. Coming down the mountain on the first day, I was cramping up. My legs were cramping, and although I do physical activity, I prepare myself. I train boxing every day, morning and evening. But this was a complete test for my body to adapt, physically, mentally. Slept on a cliff down with the river, praying that it was not going to rain because the river will grow massively. That night, 2 snakes, venomous snakes, were killed when we were camping. Center Front was always there, doing the protection of all times and telling us what was happening on every single place. It's extremely important that we went with the authority, not like these leftists that they go and pay coyotes and do things unlawfully. Because that is what you have done. You have provided more business. There's no way to enter. Stop with your lies, and we have proof of it. There's no way that you can escape from this anymore, leftist media, because we went through it and we know the process for you to enter a jungle, and you have to pay a coyote. So, people, for all these leftist media that they have gone in paying coyotes. There's no other way. All leftist media that they have gone in, they have paid coyotes. And they have lied that sometimes They have been accompanied by a Centerfront official, and they don't say anything because they don't want to talk good things about the authority. They don't want to talk good things about Centerfront, as they have been protecting, stopping narco-terrorism, and risking their lives. Instead of that, these leftist medias and these liberals, they're coming all the way to the Darien Gap. They're enriching the trafficker and they're enriching the guides instead of stopping it. Second day, we went and we started seeing multiple camps that they were destroyed by the river. What do I say with this? The jungle has multiple, it's one river, but it's like a zigzag. So exhausting. I cannot even describe for you guys how exhausting it was. It was extremely exhausting. There's no way there's no description. There's no words for me to describe what we went through. You have to live it yourself. I don't promote it. I don't tell you to go. And of course, I'm not telling nobody to go. I don't wish it on nobody. But on the second day, we realized what kind of trouble we were in. We started realizing that this is no joke. It's a matter of life and survival. Life, death, survival. Thank God that we were prepared by the things that Mr. Michael Young told us to take. A filter for water, so every time that we were at the river, we were filtering water. And we took the food necessary because you cannot carry that much in your bag. It's too heavy. FYI, for all these leftist medias, we carried our own bags. We know that you guys pay coyotes to carry yours and to also carry your little camera so you can record. No, we as men, we carried our own bags and our own equipment the whole time, the whole journey. Unlike you guys, they paid people to carry your own little bags. After we arrived to a camp, a Centerfront camp in the jungle, we slept there. And on the next day in the morning, they told us 8 hours of walking to one particular place for us to get a piragua. It's like a canoe. And ultimately, we said we can make it. This day, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was feeling a lot of exhaustion. Cramps late at night was a thing that was really bothering me. My legs were cramping. My back was cramping. My stomach was cramping. My neck had cramps. I was drinking ibuprofen 800 milligrams every day, one every day, to release the pain, drinking water consistently, and resting, going to bed at around 6 o'clock in the evening when the light has shut down. There's no signal. There's no phone. You guys know that I was incommunicated for 4 days. So you had to go to sleep. 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, after talking to the guys at Centerfront and telling us their stories, the real stories, not the lies of the left that they promote, the real stories about this mass migration. And let me tell you, every Centerfront official, every single one, they say, stop. Do not put your family through this travesty. Think about it twice. Have you seen a leftist media saying this once to migrants that are crossing the Darien Gap? I will ask you this question and you answer me. Yes or no? Have you seen the New York Times, Daily Beast, Democracy Now!, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, CNN saying to migrants, do not enter the jungle? Have you guys seen once that they have promoted and said, stop, please, do not enter that place? You don't deserve that for you and your family, your wife and your children. If you can tell me that at some point that they have said that, I will accept that and say, oh, Here you go. Senafront, the authority of Panama. Every single agent has said, think about it. Do not try it. And even to tell you, migrants inside the jungle, we have interviews where they are saying, do not do it. The next day in the morning, after feeling exhausted, beat down, we woke up early at 6 o'clock, 5:30, getting up, putting our hammocks into our equipment, carrying our equipment all the time to all you pansies out there. And after we were exiting the camp, we saw a group of around 50 migrants, the majority from Haiti and the majority from Africa. As they were coming in, we were asking them how many days you've been in the jungle, and every single one of them, they were saying 10 days. We saw one 15-year-old, one 12-year-old carrying a little child, and we saw a woman carrying a child. Nobody talks about how Centerfront in difficult situations where the migrants are stuck and they don't know, they don't have guidance, how they guide them for an exit, for them to not lose their lives. New York Times didn't do it, and they just traveled there. They didn't talk about the environmental disaster, the used condoms, and ultimately the authorities of Centerfront. We have video of that. We walked, I don't even know how many kilometers. Bad. Going up, you hear the monkeys, you hear all kinds of animals. You're praying to dear God, and no snake comes out of where you're walking. After going up and down, up and down, multiple times, going up those jungles and grabbing a cord to not fall into a cliff, to not fall into that side, to the other side. I gotta give it to my brother Ben Berquam. He's a strong patriot, strong man. I gotta give it to him. He really surprised me on this trip. His will, his hunger, his true love for his country and patriotism to show the truth. He's sick and tired of it. And he showed on this trip strength like I haven't never seen him before. I believe that on the second day, he broke his pinky toe. And we were a little bit preoccupied of his toe, because you need to walk with it, you know. That's what we were walking with. We were wearing some plastic boots into all our equipment. I got a rash that is extremely bad on my leg. We'll show you a little bit what am I talking about. This is a rash. That right there. Rash of the boots. Rashes everywhere. Next day, we started walking with the migrants. And it's just sad to see a woman holding a child crossing a river that goes all the way through here. It's just sad to see people crossing the river, and it's promoted by the Democrats. The open border policies of Joe Biden, promoted by them. They pander to that. They live out of that. They live out of human misery. That is what they do. Sadly, we started our journey. Sadly, we saw that, and we started our journey early in the morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we started walking. Changed my boots. I put my other rubber boots. Those ones were really taking a toll on me on my feet. Multiple rocks and crossing through rivers. So many people that we saw helped. That they were in a really bad situation. On this day, I felt the exhaustion. I don't have to lie about it. We stopped at a place where our coordinates were off. We went from one side to another and we were a little bit lost. There's multiple routes. And at this place, we were asking the migrants, do you have a guide? And they said, no, we came alone. How do you find these routes? You will see how unbelievable these coyotes and traffickers or guides work. They put a blue piece of trash, of cloth, into every tree. So whenever you see a blue piece of trash or cloth in a debris piece, blue piece, color blue, in the tree, it tells you that that is a route. The swamps, we walked to several swamps. Oof, my God. Knee high. Bad. Went up, and down. River, crossing through river. Multiple camps, disastrous camps. Trash everywhere. There was a point that I landed on one place, and it was time for us to get some food, eat something that we had in our backpacks. And the food I was not eating the food anymore. I didn't know this, but after talking to the experienced people right here, they were telling me that possibly I had a little heat stroke. I didn't want no water. Water was disgusting for me. I didn't want no food. Food was disgusting. My body was not taking it anymore. I was completely exhausted. And my brother Ben, he was there's a river, and he was right there inside the river refreshing himself, and he told me, hey, come on, Blue, we're almost there. We're almost there, brother. You don't have to give up on me right now. So I put some water in my face and on my back of my neck. I ate that food that I didn't want to eat. I forced myself to eat that food. And I drank water that I didn't want to drink. I forced my body to drink water. Nothing was going in. I didn't like it. Put water in the back of my face, put water in the back of my neck. Started walking with the migrants, seeing them how they were completely destroyed without food, without water, children without water and food. Hearing a child cry in the jungle, it is the most disastrous, emotional thing that it can happen to a human being. Hearing a child cry inside the jungle, it is the most disastrous, emotional thing that a human being can hear. We grabbed our things and we started walking. We didn't know how far we were. We didn't know how far we have come. Well, we knew we were walking long. And after 3 days walking in the jungle, we came to a place where there was the piraguas, the canoes. And we ended and we crossed the Darien Gap. After that, I just realized how inhuman these people are. It is the devil. God provided us the pathway, the right people, center front, to give a voice to the Panamanian people, to the Central American, South American people, to the whole continent, to the world. He provided us a day, a light, safety. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ protected us every moment of the journey, and I want to thank Him for every single second, minute, hour, day that He was with us. We were there, we could not even believe it. We were like, we finished it. I hugged Ben, we were like, we finished it, we did it, brother. And the migrants were laying down right there on their backs, and they could not even believe it also. They were like, been 10 days stuck in the jungle, 10 days. We did not know the route. We did not know where to go. We did not know how we were going to get there, how we going to get out. We started following you. Say what? We started following you. Oh, so the authorities are center front. got you out to safety? Yes, they did. Nobody talks about that. Law and order. Every single Centerfront official told us this is the most disastrous, horrible journey that a human being can take. Do not do it. Do not do it. This is not a promotional video. This is not a travel agency. Do not do it. Gonna risk a lot. On our way getting out, we saw 2 Venezuelan migrants coming back. That was amazing. We encountered them as they were coming into the river and walking in the middle of the river, and we stopped and we started recording as the authorities started questioning, saying, "Where are you from?" "We're from Venezuela." "What are you doing over here?" "You're going back?" "Yes, we were deported by Mexico and we're going back." How unbelievable is that? That you don't have a resource to come back and you put yourself through the jungle because it has been promoted by all leftist organizations that the jungle is the way to migrate back home. Isn't that sad? But nobody talks about that. But there was 2 journalists that they went inside the jungle. They went without authorities. Who carried their bags? To who you paid for you to cross? You don't talk about that, huh? On the 3rd day, we got out of the jungle. We went to another place in Piragua, on a so-called canoe. We went to a place that is called Canam Membrillo. After that, we rested. And on the next day, on the 4th day, we went again on a canoe early in the morning. And we arrived to Puerto Limón. That is where the great Chuck Colton, Mr. Michael Young, picked us up. 4 days. I knew that it was horrible. I knew that it was bad. But I never realized that it was going to be this bad. First and foremost, I want to say to our network, Real America's Voice News, to Mr. Rob Sig and Mr. Rob Shorts, thank you so much for trusting us and giving us the opportunity to expose the evil that exists in these countries and in our continent, in our world. Second of all, I want to say thank you to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Lord, you know the bad things that there are inside the jungle, and you are the only one that has the power to shut that jungle down. You're the only one that can cure that place. Give us the power, Lord, to expose all these leftists and all these bad people. Do not give them power anymore. They don't deserve it. Take them away. Take the power away from them and provide your light and shining light with angels all over this place. Stop these evil people and these evil and demonic people from taking away lives anymore. Stop migrating to that place. And to all of you migrants, and you arrive to another country and say, I just migrated through the Darien Gap and I went through this travesty and this and this. You're not new. You know that it's dangerous. You know that it's bad. You know that you can lose your life. Do not put yourself through it. There's no justification whatsoever that you did not know what you were getting yourself into. There's no justification whatsoever for your understanding in mind that you did not know that it was bad. You have heard that it was bad. You have heard that it was extremely dangerous. You have heard that it's risking your life and your child's life. You have heard that you need to pay and pay and pay for you to transit. You have heard that. So if you know that, and if you don't want to go through that, then don't do it. Simple as that. It is under your responsibility only. There's other ways to do it. To all the people that they have lost their lives, God rest their souls and God protect them, because they did not know what they were getting themselves into. But to all of you that you're listening, if you know that this is so dangerous, do not go and migrate through the Darien Gap. Leave it alone. It's not worth it. Completely not worth it. I will put out a sequel of videos when I get home. There's too much editing. Of course, the videos are for our network, Real America's Voice News. My colleague Ben Berquam is going to put a sequel of this in this program that's called Lock and Border. So ultimately, the network, it is the one that provided us the opportunity for us to go to this place. So in the meantime that the network it is preparing the tools and also ultimately the video, I will also be providing my own video. And ultimately, I have the proof now. And to all of you leftist media, tabloid medias, that they have attacked me, made so-called hit pieces on me because they talk about my past and la la la, they're crying. And they use their stupid language that's creating hysteria, conspiracy theories, and fear-mongering, xenophobic. To all of you, there's no way that you can get lied. There's no way that you can lie anymore. If we had you before, we have you now. De aquí te tengo en la mano ya. Mentirosos. Les debería dar vergüenza. Inhumanos, desgraciados. Pocos humanos. Desgraciados, eso es lo que son. Inhumanos, asquerosos. Eso es lo que son. To all of you, inhuman, disgusting, leftist media, we have you now, by the way. You say we went in with Xenophon. I'm so proud to go in with law and order and by the law. Meanwhile, you went in paying coyotes and providing them more economy. Because that's what you do. You want to push this more. Push it more. Meanwhile, we are trying to save lives. It's a whole lot of difference. You're evil, we're not. Son unos desgraciados todos ustedes de izquierda. Empujan a esta gente para que la gente muera en el Darién. Alto a las muertes en el Darién. Alto. Shut down the Darien. Disgraceful leftists. Disgusting. You live out of this. That route needs to be shut down. Every single route needs to be shut down. It cannot continue like this. You cannot be putting people through this misery, to this travesties. You cannot be doing that. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Voice News. Thank you to all of our network. My brother, Ben Berquam. If I had to define or say a word about my brother, Ben Berquam, we had our ups and downs in our trip. That is, we're leaders, both of us. So we always want to lead. But if I had to define with one word, my brother, Ben Berquam, I can say that he is a warrior. His body's full of steel. His strength is full with unwillingness to do better. I'm so proud of you, Ben. Really proud of you. Because you push me. You're always pushing me. You're always telling me, don't get tired. Get up. You're getting cramps. Get up. We're getting late. Get up. I was so proud for you that day. Every single day. Those 4 days. Really proud of you. The only thing that I can say about you. Thank you to Mr. Michael Young that he provided all the tools. And also his intelligence is so valuable to all of us. Appreciate the people that they have been working on this, the mass migration through the Darien and all across the world. That is Mr. Michael Young. You got to give a journalistic ethic of appreciation to him. Also to Mr. Chuck Holton, that he has traveled all the world, that he's mentally, physically prepared for every single task that has been put on his path. God bless them both. May the Lord Jesus Christ protect them in every single pathway that they go. We're going to work on something together to provide for you more truth about what is really happening out there. To my audience, thank you so much. My editor manager, thank you so much. I'm okay. Physically exhausted, mentally drained, but I'm okay. I will have to take a couple of days off for people to understand and what we have gone through. But we need to digest and then decompress, and after that, start over again. There's too much to be done. We're not going to give up on these people. We're going to continue to fight. Uh, and Lord, let's say a prayer real quick. Lord, you know the bad things that they're out there in the jungle. You know the multiple people that they have passed away trying to get to another better place. Bless them, Lord, to give them a shining light where they are going to. Lord, you are the only one that knows our jobs, and you're the only one that can guide us to our jobs. You're the only one that protects us every step that we take, every voice that we say, every word that we say. Lord, thank you so much. I want to thank you for every single minute, second, and hour and day that you protected my friend Ben Bergquan, myself, and the Center Front authorities, and all the migrants that were there for not to lose their lives and to arrive safely to another place. You're the only one that has the power to shut that place down and get that evil out of that mountain. Lord, you're the only one. Please, Lord, have your power and mercy all over the bad people. Wake them up and tell them you're doing wrong. And to the evil and Satan, beat him, Lord, like you have never beat him before. And treat him bad like you have never treated him before. Because he deserves that for attacking your sons, attacking this world. In the name of Jesus, amen. God bless you all, people. From Panama, the hour over here is 15:45 p.m. 57 minutes with 36 seconds into this live feed. I want to just come in to say hello to you, to every single one of you. We are concentrated on what we do. We don't care about nobody else. Nobody else. We are concentrated on our task, on our missions. And we came out with this new slogan. And it is this: God's plan is our mission. So every plan that God has for us, it is a mission for us to accomplish it. And we are going to. God's plan is our mission. God bless you all, for every single one of you, for your support during these days. We are okay. We are resting. Hopefully we will be arriving to our homes. I want to see my son and hug him and tell him that I love him. Uh, I told him that I was going in the jungle to go hunt and get an elephant. And the other day he told me to get a lion, and Ben Bergquan was going to get an elephant. I talked to him the other day and he told me, Dad, do you get the tiger? And Ben had the elephant. And I said, yes, we did, son. And then he said, where is Ben going to put the elephant horns inside the plane? I said, I don't know. He's a big guy. He can carry them instead of his bags. God bless you all, people. Thank you so much for this evening talk. Later on, we will put out multiple hours of video explaining what we have seen and what we have accomplished. To all the leftists, bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? God bless you all. Stay safe, and like we always say, peace and love. It's always your country's first. God bless.